So we're here this morning talking with John Scheib, who's graciously agreed to speak with us about technology. So John, thanks for joining us.
You bet, Wai. Glad to be here.
So I thought I'd start by just mentioning, Norfolk Southern recently participated in a Rail Tech Day in Washington, D.C. It was hosted by the American Association of American Railroads and others in our industry. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, I'd be glad to. We had an outstanding day. The industry came together and in the Rayburn Foyer in the House of Representatives put on Rail Tech. Norfolk Southern had a booth that had virtual welding, data analytics, and we also had rail testing going on right in front of politicians, members of the press, members of the public, and staff from all around Washington, D.C., so that they could see what a modern railroad looks like and glimpse into what the future of railroading is going to be.
So it's pretty obvious from talking to you that you're very excited about technology. Why is that?
Well, Wai, I think technology is going to open the door to a bright future for the railroads, and particularly when we can apply it in so many different areas to make us more efficient, to make us safer, and to give us the opportunities to help our customers grow their business. So technology is going to open the door to a lot of opportunity, and we need to harness it now. And so I'm humbled by working with all these folks in our company who are really technology experts. And I see it as our job in the corporate communications and the government affairs and the law division to help the government and the public understand how this technology can achieve all those objectives so that we really have the opportunity to let it flourish and enhance our business. I think we're really on the cusp of an exciting future.
So you mentioned the future, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But first, can you discuss the current technology state of play at Norfolk Southern?
We're using lots of technology all over the railroad. We're using it in places like our training center, where we have virtual welding machines. We're using it out on the railroad where we have drones to do inspections. We're using it out on the railroad where we're using highly sophisticated tools to detect track imperfections. And we're using it all across the railroad to determine whether cars are healthy based on the wheel conditions as they go by hot box detectors. So there's really technology all over the railroad today. And I didn't even mention all the sensors that are embedded in locomotives and other equipment across our railroad.
That's great. So you talked about technology at Norfolk Southern as it currently stands. Where does Norfolk Southern stand competitively as compared to other peer railroads and even trucking companies?
Yeah, Wai, thank you. We're going to take a lead on this topic, and already in our capital budget, it's the largest capital budget spend for technology that our company's ever had. And in some ways, we're building off what we've done, but we're really trying to reimagine possible, as I said, because we are going to be a technology company, and we're going to be talking about it loudly. We may not have talked quite as much publicly about the technology that we've implemented in the past, but we are going forward going to talk about it.
So one of the most prominent technologies that folks associate with railroads today is positive train control, or PTC. Can you tell us what PTC means for Norfolk Southern and the industry as a whole?
Yeah, PTC is going to open the door to a lot of possibilities for us, Wai, just because of the amount of equipment that we've got on the side of the railroads and the ability for that information to be collected in real time and transferred back. So really, we're talking about PTC as the backbone of technology in the future. And when we talk to the government, for example, that's exactly the words we're using. PTC is really going to be the backbone that's going to allow the future to explode.
So in your last answer, you mentioned data. What is Norfolk Southern doing in the big data space? And I guess before we even go there, what is big data anyway?
So big data is really taking data that comes in many different forms, whether it's numerical, images, videos, allowing you to put it together in what we call a data lake, and then run analyses on it that give you the opportunity to see what's going to happen. So in some ways, it's a lot like the Force in the Star Wars movies. It allows you to see things before they're going to happen and gives us Jedi-like reflexes so that we can respond to them. So for example, on locomotives, we're now doing data analytics that allow us to predict when a locomotive is going to fail for cooling water or battery problems. And that allows us to respond a week before that event would actually occur and do the maintenance so we don't have a locomotive break down on the line of railroad. Similarly, we're looking at track and in curves in particular and watching how rail wears, and we're able now to predict 5 years out when rail is going to fail so that we have better insight into our engineering budgets and what we're going to need to do in the future from an engineering and track replacement standpoint. It's very exciting stuff.
Yeah. So with all these really cool technological advances either here or very near on the horizon, what does the railroad of the future look like to you?
Well, in some ways, the railroad of the future to the public may be just trains going by, but to us, it's going to be a lot different. We're going to be using technology to meet our customers' needs and give them real-time information on their shipments. We're going to be using technology to move trains more efficiently. We're going to be using technology to get more out of our yards. We're going to be using technology to get more out of everything we do in the railroad. And I think it's going to make us smarter, and it's going to make us faster, and it's going to make us providing better service to our customers. And that's why we are working so hard to make sure that the government and other folks understand these technologies and give us the regulatory latitude to move forward. At Norfolk Southern, we want to reimagine possible, and we need everyone to help us achieve that vision.
Great. Well, thanks so much for your time, John. Appreciate talking, and sounds like an exciting new frontier.
Thanks, Wai. Anytime.